Welcome to Allie's Attic Show, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a professional music enthusiast, a blogger, a podcaster, and songwriter. And you know what? He's amazing. Please welcome Mike OCull. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Allie, how are you?
I am
Thanks for
well.
having the show.
Yeah, anytime. Now, just everybody knows that I talk to people before I do interviews, just to kind of go through everything. And I can tell you right now, guys, Mike's a good guy. He's already offering to help me and figure out my life because you know how I am with this website and everything that I'm doing. I am not techie, and now I'm doing podcasts. And actually, Mike, you're going to be my first artist on my podcast.
Well, it's an honor.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
There you go. Okay, so you work with and cover some of the most compelling artists from around the world, as well as doing your own songwriting, and you create original music that mixes rock, hip hop, funk, and synthwave. What else? You wear like many hats. So tell me, when did you decide that this is what you were going to do with your life, and talk about all the things that you've done so far?
Well, music was kind of one of those things that picked me from early childhood. If you talk to my mom, she'd tell you I was 2 years old, walking around our little apartment, banging the plastic guitar for, hours at a time. I never had that moment like you hear about people, who saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and they said, oh, that's what I got to do. I never had that. It was just always there.
Ah.
The desire to play was always there. My mom was a classical musician, opera singer, a pianist, and I think that that definitely fed into it. But it was something that was under my own steam from the beginning, and then I started playing, taking guitar lessons when I was 8, and just never quit. It was just always my sort of magnificent obsession.
Well, I know how you feel. I don't play I don't play an instrument, and I mean, I can sing. I just can't sing well. But I live, breathe, eat music, and that started from a young age. My mom said that she would turn the music on, and I'd be dancing around and I was singing quicker than I was talking. Not because I can sing, but I hardly ever watch TV, so I know where you're coming from. So now, did you decide that you were going to do music first, and then the blogging and podcasting and everything came after, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I played in bands and worked as a music teacher, a guitar teacher, for many years before I ever started writing. I didn't start publishing until the mid-'90s. But it was always something that I wanted to do. I grew up reading music magazines as a kid in the 70s and as an adolescent in the 80s, going back to the old Crawdaddy days, which became Musician Magazine, and Rolling Stone, back when that really meant something.
Mm-hmm.
We had subscriptions to that stuff. And I spent my childhood reading the Rolling Stone interviews and, just absorbing that whole style of writing because it was so tied into, my music obsession.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought it would be cool to write for a music magazine. And about 1997, I finally got a chance, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
As I was saying, I was blogging before blog was a word. When I first started, because I started in print.
Uh-huh.
I started doing local magazines in print, and then graduated to a magazine called The Illinois Entertainer, which is the largest free monthly in the Midwest.
Oh.
And, out of Chicago, and I worked for them for about 12 years.
Oh, nice.
But when I got my first online gig, which was still back in the dial-up days, probably not 98, 99, they didn't even know what to call the site. There was no such term as blog. It was like, well, are we an online magazine? Are we an entertainment site? What do we call this?
They were completely confused.
Yeah, it was all new. It was all new at the time.
And look at it now, right? Like, there's no more. I mean, I wonder how. I don't know. Do you think a lot of people still buy Rolling Stone magazine?
I don't know. I think everything is on the phone now, on the computer.
Yeah.
If you ever see Gary V on Facebook, the motivator business guy, he always says that the smartphone is the remote control to the world.
Oh my God. I've never heard that. That's such a good. That's like so apt. It's not even funny.
And I think that's right on. I think most people get their information through some sort of digital device.
Always.
Their information, their entertainment, all the things that used to come through the analog world in paper and through the mail, and even through TV broadcasts that you sat at home and watched.
Yeah. Now I wonder, like, who sings the cover of the Rolling Stone? Oh my God, I
Dr.
want to.
Hook.
Dr. Hook, that's it. My God, I couldn't remember. I wonder if there was a band that was singing something like that now, what they would say, I want to be on the something.
Yeah,
On the website of Rolling Stone magazine. I don't know. It's weird.
right on the home page of Pitchfork.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's so different now. And I mean, there's a lot of us that are like, oh no, I'm not going to be, living in my phone and living on the computer. And that's what I do all the time now. So I'm like, yeah, okay.
You know what? I fully embraced it. I love the digital world. I would never want to go back. I remember how hard it was to do just basic creative work, using paper and recording tape and razor blades
Oh my
and,
God, yeah.
all that stuff. That's
Yeah.
where I started. And it's so much easier to actually do the work now. I mean, it's harder to get paid for it. It's harder
Yeah.
to sell it.
There
But,
we go. Ding,
but
ding,
I've
ding.
learned to do things that I never would have been able to accomplish if I had to actually do them outside of a computer in
Yeah.
terms of graphics and video editing and even audio editing.
Yeah.
So I've fully embraced it.
Well, I
I love
have
the
now
internet.
too. I mean, I had to because I'm doing this, show now. But yeah, I had to. I remember when I was a radio announcer and I was still spinning records. I mean,
Oh
because
yeah,
I was a radio announcer for years, and then it got to the point where it was all you had to do was push a button on the computer and it would just play, and you could
Yeah.
like go and have your, if you smoked, you could go have a cigarette. Before it
Right.
used to be we had to wait for Rudy from Supertramp and start that off before we could run out and have a cigarette, whatever long songs there were. Bat out of hell, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm embracing it. I'm still not a pro at it, but I'm getting there, and it's just so instant. That's what I like about it. It's
Yes.
instant. You get it right away.
Yes. And you can be sitting at home in your bathrobe at your desk and impact the world.
Exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't believe
You know?
some of the interviews what I've been wearing. No, I'm joking.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
There's not all these barriers between you and your audience or possible audience.
The world. Like when I first got a response from somebody in the UK saying that they liked my website, it made me sit down and go, what? Because you don't realize until you start doing it on a regular basis how many people you do impact and how the world can now hear you, because I'm worldwide. And I didn't
Right.
think of it that way until I started doing it. And it's still every now and then it blows me away. I have a gentleman that wants to come on from India who's a rap artist. I'm like, what? What? Yeah. So it's instantaneous, and I can't even talk now. You impact so many people. Okay, so now along with everything that you do, I mean, so I'm going to just talk about some of the venues that your work has appeared, and then I'm going to talk about your music and everything else you do. So you've been, so the Chicago Music Guide,
Yes.
Indie Band Guru,
Yes.
Gear Vault,
Yes.
Illinois Entertainer,
Yes.
Guitar Geary, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay. Chicago Blues Guide, and UltimateGuitar.com.
Yes. I've contributed to all those places.
Wow, that is amazing. And you've been doing it for over 20 years. That's just insane. I'm so glad that you do it, though, because you're giving me some great advice. Now, okay, you also provide coaching, promotion, and writing services for musicians and other people who create.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. That all started as an outgrowth of doing the music magazine stuff. And I started doing that back in the 90s, doing artist biographies and press releases just for the bands that I was around, my friends and, the bands that I was in. And that just became kind of a thing that people in Chicago knew me for. And, when people would do an album or whatever, they needed new text or a new press release, I would knock it out for them. But in the last few years, I've gotten a lot bigger with that in terms of marketing it on the internet and reaching out and finding a lot more clients. Again, it's like around the world. Now I write for people all around the world through different freelance platforms and through my own, reputation and social media sites. People who find my work, and I do every sort of writing service an artist could need. I do artist biographies, press releases, website content. liner notes, even for bands who want to roll old school like that, pre-writing tweets, social media stuff,
Wow.
feature articles, reviews, anything.
God.
Music copywriting is sort of my superpower.
Oh, really?
I do a little bit of straight business writing, but most of what I do is music related, and that's really my deep niche subject area. And I think one of the things that makes me good at it is that I come at it not just from being a music critic, but I'm also a musician. I played live on stage for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I understand both sides of the stage.
Yeah.
And so I have a different relationship with the artists that I cover and that I work with.
Well,
I do PR services for certain bands, reaching out to bloggers, compiling lists of bloggers that they want to promote to, trying to get them placements, all that kind of stuff.
wow.
Basically one-stop music promotion.
That is awesome. God, I wish
with
I
original
could.
content.
Yeah.
I write everything. It's not, there's no bots or, spinners or anything involved.
That do that, yeah.
It's all original content.
I wish I could hire you. Okay. So along with all of that stuff, and you know what, you're right, because you are on both sides. You're now. I just want to ask a quick question.
Sure.
Did you go to school for journalism, or is this just all self-taught?
I went to Columbia College in Chicago and concentrated in writing, not journalism.
Okay.
Creative writing. The journalism thing is all just kind of from being around the music world. But I've always been a good writer from childhood on. I've always been a great reader and writer, and that was my ability. It certainly wasn't math and science.
Mine either.
So it was sort of just my natural, abilities meeting an opportunity in my subject area.
Okay.
But no, I never took a journalism class. Nobody ever taught me how to interview. Nobody ever, I just tried to imitate the magazines that I read.
Well, you do a great job. I mean, right. I didn't take journalism. I took broadcasting. So I mean, I got some kind of training, but
right.
Mostly it was learning as you go, and that's I think the best way to learn, and not sitting in a school or whatever college. It's actually doing it. Okay, so let's talk about your music now, okay. Because one of your songs I could listen to 24/7. You still obviously perform, write, and play.
And I don't play out so much anymore. I've become disabled in recent years with arthritis and mobility stuff that I'm working through. So I'm not playing out right now. I'm pretty much a studio and online creature at this point.
Well, I have RA, so I feel you. I know that's why I can't work. That's why I do this, because I couldn't stand not doing anything. But yeah, exactly. So I can completely understand where you're coming from. Now, so because you've been doing this for so long, Mike, and because you do both sides of it, which is amazing, and I'm telling everybody, like, the advice he gave me beforehand, and he offered to help you guys. If you need anything, hire this man because he's good at what he does. Okay, so if you had any advice to give anybody that's in this industry, because you do both sides and you've been around for a while doing this, involved in music, what kind of advice would you give?
Be radically original. Be yourself. Be authentic. You're better to come straight off the wall with whatever you do than to imitate somebody.
Yes.
Be the only one who does what you do.
Great advice. I mean, you guys hear me talk about, I don't listen to the radio because everybody sounds the same. And I want to stress that it's not the artist's fault. It's what their label's telling them to do because that's what's selling. But the reason I started doing independent musicians, well, any independent art, but definitely independent musicians, is because I like variety and I like people that are original. And so your advice is like great advice because everybody should just be them.
And that's been my approach through all this new stuff that I've been doing this year. Branching out from just the blogging work and PR and all that I've been doing, in terms of becoming a podcast host and media person, which has been this year's journey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really listen to podcasts.
Yeah,
I just because I don't. I mean, I have, but I don't make a conscious effort to listen to other music podcasters because I don't want to. I want to do my own thing. I have an idea of how I want to do it.
yeah.
I'm doing a show for Chicago Music Guide that's a local Midwest artist called the Sounds of Chicago podcast. That's on iTunes and Player FM and all the other places. And, I get the full run of that, and I've just been kind of developing my style based on the music that moves me, that I put on it.
Yeah.
Just trying to be authentically me and cover the artists that are authentically me. And I also work with a group in California, in Los Angeles, called Vishnu's Trumpet, the VT, that is a brand new music discovery platform for just amazing underground music that actually, it brings great music to people, and their financial model actually pays the artists.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, which everybody should go to vishnustrumpet.com and check out the VT. It's something that's in its beginning stages right now, but it is a great thing. And it's the same thing. The music is curated for authenticity and for that real creativity, that originality. It's not just a cattle call like Spotify where anybody can be on it. We're trying to provide the experience. We're trying to provide the things that we love. And it's not just in one style of music, but that level of realness and people who are really doing good work.
Wow.
So that's kind of what it's all about for me.
Well, and that's awesome.
Authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity. And you know what? I don't listen to a lot of podcasts either, and I don't listen to radio.
Yeah, I don't either.
I used to, after I was a radio announcer, I was also a teacher. So it drives me crazy because if I hear somebody making mistakes, it's just, I can't deal with it. And I want to be original too. That's why I do a website instead of a podcast. But now I was told that I need more exposure. So this will be on a podcast, but I'm never going to go live. Everything I do is pre-recorded. I do that for a reason. And I decided, you know what, I'm doing a website because everybody's doing podcasts. I want to be different. I want to stand out. And I don't want to be influenced by anybody either. I do things the way I do them, and that's never going to change. That's why I do my interviews this way. So I want to hear your journey. And it's not just for my audience. I mean, for the love of God, if I like somebody and I've asked them to come on my show, I want to hear it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I do what I do. And I'm so glad that's why you do what you do. And I urge everybody to go to this site because it's not very often that musicians nowadays, especially indie musicians, can find a site where they're getting paid to put their music on. Most people take money from them.
Yeah, it's a whole different financial model. It really is. It's a radically different financial model from the rest of the industry. And I think a lot of the industry is kind of scared of it. But once musicians really get wind of this, it's going to be incredible. They're not making fractions of a cent, but, where a featured artist makes thousands of dollars the week that they're up.
Oh, my God.
So it's just something that we're building right now, and I was very lucky to fall in with the VT. And I do their podcast. That's sort of my gig there, and I do a little bit of A&R, but mostly I do their weekly podcast that goes along with the featured artist, and it's interview and music and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really a great thing. It's of musicians, for musicians, by musicians.
That is awesome. And say the name again.
What?
Say what it's called again.
It's called Vishnu's Trumpet, vishnustrumpet.com, the VT.
Okay. Your website's going to be up on my website. Is it on your website?
Yes, there's a link.
Okay, good.
On the homepage of my site.
So people can go to your website and find it.
Yes.
I urge all musicians because I know I still cannot believe that how much money they don't make and how much money the music platform that they're on makes. And I'm also still in shock about people interviewing, charging artists for interviews. But in saying that, if you know of any artists you think would come on my show, send them my way.
Oh, I sure will.
Because I do it for free. Okay, so what two songs are we going to hear from you today, Mike?
Well, you've got Tough Times These Days, and you've got Ain't No Love in the Ways of Man.
Now, they're completely different songs.
Yes, they're completely different songs.
I absolutely love Tough Times These Days. The guitar in it, just, oh my God, I love the song. And I listened to that one first, and then I listened to Ain't No Love in the Ways of Man, and it was kind of like, oh, that's not even the same.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there is a connection because everything that I do anymore kind of has that funk hip hop sort of feel to it at some point,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just one of the influences that I
Yeah.
have. I mean, I spent 5 years playing country music for a living. I've done all kinds of things.
Oh, wow.
I play all kinds of styles. Um, but it's the lyrical approach and the grooves are kind of what's holding my current guitar music together.
Okay. Well,
that's the continuity.
Yeah, they're great songs. They're both great songs. I'm in love with Tough Times these days. Now you can purchase your music everywhere people purchase music: iTunes, Spotify, all that wonderful
Correct.
stuff. I'm assuming the VT.
Well, the VT isn't a store.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It's a discovery service.
Ah.
It's discovery service.
Okay, I get it now. Okay, I thought you could just do the same thing as Spotify, but I was wrong.
No, it's not. It's kind of the opposite of Spotify.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, I urge everybody to go to your website, which is mikeocull.com. It's going to be up on my website. People can click on it, go directly to yours. They can find out more about VT, and they can find out more about you and listen to more of your music. And Mike, thank you for offering to help me out in my stumbling through this technology world nowadays.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on my show. You intrigue me. Out of a lot of the artists I've had on, you intrigue me just because of all the things that you do, and because you've been involved in music for so long. Because I mean, that is my love. I wish I could sing, whatever, but I can't. So I do this. At least I get to get my foot in it somehow.
Right.
You get to do all of it, which is awesome. So thank you so much for taking time out of, I'm sure, your busy schedule, coming on my show.
I'm very happy to be here. I appreciate you having a little opportunity for me to come on.
Yeah, anytime anything new happens, or you want to come back on and talk about, VT, if it gets bigger, whatever the case may be, you know how to get a hold of me. So yeah, I'm sure we'll keep in touch, but thank you so much. And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic Show. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises you're going to find in my attic. Cheers.